What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about CLF, so Cleveland Cliffs. They do have their earnings coming up. I want to go over some of the estimates, support and resistance points, and things that you need to be aware of. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So at the time of doing this video, sitting at $11.35, did go down 5.26% on Friday. Over the last 1 year though, it is down 41.91, and then over the last 1 month gaining some pretty good traction, up 10.46, and a lot of that is stemming from this right here. So when they did announce the whole tariffs, it's very beneficial for obviously any American steel company, so thus this is why it did gain some pretty good momentum. But aside from that, in case you are curious, this is the company profile, so feel free to pause it and read through it, but probably you wouldn't be watching this video if you didn't know that at this stage in the game. But earnings is on the 24th after hours, negative 67 cents for the earnings per share, 4.31 billion for the revenue. Over the last 90 days, 0 positive and 3 negative revisions to the earnings per share, giving it a little bit closer of a viewpoint. So that earnings per share does work out to be almost like 1,300 year over year negative growth. Negative 73 for the low, negative 63 for the high based on 3 analysts. And then moving over to the revenue, that 4.31 billion, that does work out to be negative 15.61% year-over-year growth. 4.3 the low, 4.33 the high for the revenue, again based on 11 analysts. So I feel like CLF is a unique circumstance this time around, because a lot of people do know that with the tariffs, that's going to give it a very nice boost. So I think in general, them giving their earnings per share and revenue, so those metrics, I think the market is going to take that into consideration, but it's going to be their future guidance. That is going to be the big mover for this stock. So all in all, I think that the market's going to see that as a very strong positive and really push it higher. But right now, the implied move for it is 8.31%. So roughly around $1 move in either direction. And over the last little bit, so historically speaking, it's about a 50-50 likelihood of them beating. And so looking at this column right here that shows the 1 day move, 3 day move, 1 week, and 2 weeks. So again, a good representation of pretty much everything that you need. But historically, again, there's a good chance that they do generally beat, and you're going to have that future guidance aspect that's really going to cause the market to want to buy it, in my opinion. But as far as options, you see the bulls kind of seeing around $13, so more than the implied move, so they see it above 13, and then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub roughly around that, between, there's kind of couple pockets here, but consensus seems to be sub 1150, and given the fact that it's at 1137 right now, it is fair to assume that they even themselves feel like it will move higher. But looking at shorts, I always like to analyze this on a side note, but lately they have been increasing. So this isn't a squeeze play on a side note, but by them increasing, it kind of signals that they feel that it will be a miss and potentially go down. Again, that's how you can kind of analyze that. There's a lot of different circumstances to maybe why they are increasing, maybe broader fears, additional tariffs, inflation, a lot of different reasons. But just for face value, I think by them increasing, they do feel that there's a little bit more downside, or potentially it could just be stagnant. But 9.48% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 45.95 million shares overall being shorted. On Friday, shorts did increase roughly around 82,000 shares, 23.81% of the is that utilization. Short score 58.21, so the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening. And then through IBKR does indicate in excess of 10 million shares, so you won't be seeing any corresponding buying, as obviously big players like to borrow stocks and buy it and all that other fun jazz just to lend out. So again, just for clarity, it is not a squeeze play, so just be aware of that. But going into this upcoming week, so with it at $11.37, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So just take note of some of these strong support and resistance points. So you have 1076 followed by 1035 as support levels. Flip side, 1142, 1208 and then 1249 as kind of the next strong target / resistance points. On Friday, based on the volatility, it did actually bounce off of this R1, so we know that's a kind of fairly heavy resistance level, so take that to consideration. But like I said, I do feel like there is a lot more upside to go with this, but again, look at the data, analyze accordingly, and do what you need to do. So let me know your thoughts. Throw your price prediction for CLF in the comments below, where it will be post earnings. And then if necessary, if you want it, I can definitely do a follow-up video on CLF, going over some of the absolute key highlights from the earnings that people need to kind of be aware of. So with all that, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. One final thing, pop over to my Discord. It is completely free. Link in the description below and also the comments. A lot of good people, chat, options, everything. So definitely pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.